Lassie Farm here. This one is called The Draculas. Oops. By Jack Handey from his book What I'd Say to the Martians and Other Veiled Threats. The Draculas. I knew the Draculas. They called themselves Count Dracula and the Bride of Dracula. But I just called them the Draculas. Well, if it isn't the Draculas, I'd say. I met them when I moved in next door. You can get these great old country houses for next to nothing now in Romania. Some families have lived in these houses for hundreds of years, but now they can't pay the taxes, so you can scoop up some great deals. The Draculas, I have to tell you, were weird. For one thing, all they seemed interested in was blood. I'm not kidding. Blood. That's all they wanted to talk about. If you talked about something else, you could see their eyes sort of glaze over. Every once in a while, I'd drop the word blood randomly into the conversation just to keep it going. Once, as a gag, I came running out of the kitchen with ketchup smeared on my hand. I cut myself, I yelled. I don't think they thought it was very funny. But how was I to know that Mrs. Dracula would actually lick my hand? Or that she was allergic to ketchup? Man, her face really swelled up. Her teeth looked funny anyways, but the swelling made her look extra funny. The Draculas were also weird about bats, the flying kind. We'd be out back having martinis at sunset, and the bats would start flying around. I'd light up a Roman candle and fire it at the bats, for fun. I never hit any except for that one. But I had to stop because the Draculas would get all upset. Problem with the Draculas was they didn't know how to relax. I'd try to get them to play croquet, but when you hand them the wooden stake, they act like it had cooties or something. Count Dracula would be gingerly tapping it into the ground, and I'd have to go over with my mallet and whack it hard 2 or 3 times. Like that, I'd say. Even though the Draculas dressed sexily, I don't think they had much interest in sex. I myself have performed in a couple of adult films, and I offered to loan them copies. But they declined. You'd ask them what good adult films they'd seen lately, and they'd just sort of stammer and change the subject. I think part of the problem was they were just plain unhealthy. They looked pale and drawn all the time. Maybe it was from sleeping all day and being up all night. I'd go over to their place in the morning and pound on their big wooden door. Sometimes I'd pound for hours. When I'd see the Draculas again, they'd seem annoyed and ask if that was me pounding. Of course it was me. Who else would it be? So, yes, they were creepy, but I kind of liked them. That's why it was so tragic what happened to them. They moved away. It all started with my big 4th of July party. I had invited the Draculas, but they said they couldn't come because they were going to a 4th of July party at Petru Cosma's house, which was weird because Petru Cosma was coming to my party. Long story short, a couple of big skyrockets from my party got away from me and slammed into the Dracula's place, started a fire. The fire trucks came, the whole works. I guess all the fire attracted some bats because a couple of them flew over and got knocked out of the air by the force of a fire hose. I gave the firemen a thumbs up because I know how hard it is to hit a bat with a projectile. I went over because I like to watch fires, and standing off to one side were the Draculas, soaking wet. "Hey, Draculas," I said. They seemed sad. They said several old paintings and tapestries had burned up. "At least they were old," I said. I asked if they had insurance, but they seemed confused. "What you need," I advised, is one of those policies with a personal effects rider. I would have liked to have stayed because the fire went on for quite a while, but I had to get back to my party. A few days later, I heard that the Draculas had left in the middle of the night, just pulled out without even saying goodbye. Like I said, weird. But here's another weird thing. Lately, I've had this strange craving for ketchup. That's right, ketchup. I've started using it on different foods. I had forgotten how much I like it, so if I ever hear from the Draculas, I'll have to thank them. Thanks for watching. Good boy. Yeah. All right. Come here, Lassie. Come here. Oh, there's ducks fighting over there. He's going to break them up.